Hi CC families, it's Leanne here. Week 7 recap. I apologize for my voice. Today was a struggle with speaking, but we made it through. Took a nice hot bath tonight and got my second wind, and I thought, I'm going to do this while I've got a little bit more voice and the kids are upstairs sleeping quietly, and before I forget what we did today. Today was extra special fun because we had, one of our tutors was out, and so we had a couple of the Obesitarian kids join our class, and it was a lot of fun. They were super sweet, and loved having them in there. And we had extra moms, which was always nice. So we started today with geography and the Roman Empire, and these were such a hit last time that I brought them back. They're the little emojis, little stickers, and I got a random pack of them from Walmart for $1. And so they put their little sticker on their finger, and then we take their little finger friend, the little finger emoji, on a journey around the Roman Empire. So we started and went Hispania, Gaul, Germania, and then I did them in a different order. I did Carthage because we just slid down. It was easier to find Carthage, just slide down. And then we slid over the top of Africa to Alexandria. So we did that a couple of times where I would say it, they would repeat it. I would say it, they repeat it. We would touch it. And then, at first we just touched it, and then I said, let's tap on Hispania, and let's rub on Gaul, and let's circle Germania, and we'll slide to Carthage and scooch over to Alexandria. So that was how we did our repetition with geography today. Then we went to Latin, and I told them to keep their little finger emojis on, and we kept the finger emoji, and we just kind of had the little finger emoji sing along to this third declension now and ending song on the CC app with their little finger emojis. And they did good with them, so I let them keep them. They had them the whole, well, they ended up on the floor by the end of it. But for math, we're skip cutting 13s today. So we went through it once where I just pointed, and then I took a marker and underlined it, and they got to jump, just like a little jump on underlined words or underlined numbers. And then I added a couple more and I circled them, and if it was a circle, then we did like a turnaround, not like a big spin, but kind of, we did a little turnaround, and they stayed calm. It was beautiful. Then I added a couple of more numbers to that, and so by the time we did it, we had gone through 7 times, and it was fast, and they paid attention, and it was awesome. Moving on to science next was, what are some ways animals reproduce? We used some hand gestures for this, and they were cute. They knew, they did live birth, we did eggs, and we were really gentle holding our eggs, fragmentation, and then budding. Budding. So I kind of went and asked them, which one do you remember? And I would do the sign, or I would do a sign for one and see if they could remember live birth. And went back and forth like that. We went 5th to English with the prepositions. So it was in, and then into. I'm sorry, I do that every time. In, inside, into. And then like. So like, we did that. Like. And then near. And brought one hand near to the other. So again, it was in, inside, into, like, near for prepositions. And of course, they asked if we could go back and do the whole thing, and we did. I obliged. For history, we had tell me about Hinduism and Buddhism in India. So I did a couple of hand gestures to go along, and they liked it. When we did it again in review, I let them sit on the floor with their legs crossed, and they were kind of in a meditative sitting stance. And then we did Hinduism. And so we kind of did we did this sign for, on timeline, it was Hinduism in India. So I just said under Hinduism, developed around 1500 BC, is known for karma. We did a K. Karma, reincarnation was kind of like, instead of the snake, it was pulling that out. And the caste system. And I told them how they thought that some were better than others. And then in the song, it says Buddhism, before it says founded. So if you're reading on the CC guide, it puts Buddhism first, so it references what we're singing about. So we did Buddhism. Same when we do Lao Tzu, Confucius, and Buddha, we put our hands down on our belly. So they did Buddhism, founded in the 6th century BC. Buddhism teaches self-denial as the path to enlightenment. So I kind of showed them. I showed them the gestures as we listened to the spoken sentence, history sentence, and then they did it with me when we listened to the song the first time, and then we tried to sing the song when we did it the third time, and then I think we did the song one more time, so we got to hear it 6 times. And then for timeline was Jesus the Messiah. We did the M across the chest, and then Pentecost and the early church, the church founded on the rock. So Pentecost, flaming tongues, and the early church on the rock. And then persecution spreads the gospel. The G, we're going to turn the pages, is in the gospel. Herod's temple, so the temple on the rock, the temple destroyed by Titus. And then Diocletian divides the Roman Empire. Constantine legalizes Christianity. And then India, and that was the Gupta dynasty was their golden age. So we did the sign for golden. India's Gupta dynasty. And that wrapped us up for our new grammar. We did, what did we do next? We moved to presentation, and they worked on expression and making your voice interesting by varying your tone and volume. That was kind of our focus today. And as always, we use our attending skills as audience members, or have their ears and eyes paying attention. And then we went outside for our nature walk, and they had a blast. We were specifically at the animal nature walk. So we were able to find, there was the pasture of cows, and we saw lots of sugar ants, thousands of sugar ants. They found a roly-poly, which we found out later is not an insect, it's in the crustacean family. And it was fascinating. It was more like a shrimp than an insect. That's crazy. What else did they see? Butterflies and moths. We didn't really get a lot of worms or caterpillars. I was hoping. I kind of dug a little in the dirt and didn't see any there. We did see a few dead crickets because it's Texas, fall Texas, always the crickets everywhere. So we had a good look at some cricket carcasses. And then we came back to the room and they started their nature journal. So we worked on, I kind of showed them the temperature, which we didn't have their thermometer outside today. So I just used my handy dandy technology to tell them what the temperature was and showed them the little circle for degrees, and the date and the time. And we talked about the location. And then we used the words like, what did we observe? And I reminded them of their 5 main senses, and we kind of helped think about what we observed using all of our senses that God gave us. And so it was a lot of fun talking about what we smelled near the cow pasture, as you can imagine, and what we heard. One of them said, I heard the roly-poly. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. And then they got to draw a little bit. However they chose. Some of them wanted to do kind of a map, and mark spots where they saw things, and others just wanted to draw the ants and the butterflies, but it was good. And we talked about vertebrates and invertebrates with exoskeletons. So that was hands-on science today. And then we got the tin whistle. So we learned, and y'all can practice at home, the terminology I used was rest. So we'd say, we're going to put your tin whistle at rest, and it was in their laps. And we talked about left hand on top. So I'd have them go ahead and cover all the finger holes with the pads of their fingers and put the tin whistle at rest. And then we practiced chin position to rest several times, that it was just chin, not in the mouth, no air blowing into the tin whistle. We talked about cacophony and symphony. So we tried to sing. We sang Twinkle Twinkle, and I did it as off-key as I could possibly do in no rhythm and meter, and they were a little confused. So we were able to talk about cacophony and also unison and what unison is. And Miss Courtney, one of our class moms, she helped me. We played a low D in unison and illustrated that for them. And then we attempted to play in unison, not so successfully today, but that's okay. We've got time. But we did identify the parts of the tin whistle. There's a diagram that we have printed out for the kids. That's the same diagram that's in your foundations guide. So we just went over the parts of the tin whistle. And that was it for today. Mostly symphony, cacophony, unison, identifying the parts of the tin whistle, and then classroom etiquette with rest and chin position and trying to get their fingers to cover those holes all the way. For review today, we started with 2 different dice and gave 1 to each table, and they had the different, timeline, science, history, Latin on one, and then a corresponding week on the other, and they rolled. But I changed pretty quickly because I thought it would be more beneficial to do chunks of the same section, stick with the same subject and go, 2 through 7 on the subjects. Actually, I think we did 1 through 7. And so I rolled the dice and we picked a subject. And we had fun. They got up for math. I let them do movements to each one. So it was either air guitar or standing on one foot or kind of swaying back and forth. Or there's like a country hoedown song. So we kind of went into hoedown. As we skip counted, we did all of them up through from 2 to 13 so far. For science, we love to do accents. So I don't even know if I could attempt to do it for you here. We had lots of fun today with accents, such as what are the kingdoms of living things, etc. And you'd be surprised at how well they can emulate the accents. Then we tried to go Scottish for some. We did a robot voice. We did some really fun voices. That's always, I think that really might be I think their favorite things are the preposition song and when we do funny voices, for sure. And then we went over all of the history. We sang timeline together without any accompaniment to see if we could do it. We did all of our history sentences with any hand motions that we could remember. And we did do geography where it was call and response for geography. And Latin, I don't think we got to review Latin today, so I'll make sure we get that next time. But it was a really good day. Big class, but it was awesome and it was fun, and the kids were super great listeners, and I loved having all the class moms in there. So thanks, guys. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Say a prayer for me. I'm sure my voice will be rip-roaring and ready to sing opera when we get back in 2 weeks. But I hope y'all have a blessed break, and I'll see you later. Bye.